An attractive young woman is missing.
All the markers really indicated that there was foul play involved.
A secret code may hold vital clues.
So we start reading this and we're like, oh, okay, so he's done something now.
But the crime has been covered up.
So that led us to believe that there had been some effort to destroy evidence.
Can investigators and the experts at North Mission Road make sense of a strange set of clues and solve this troubling mystery? At the Los Angeles County Coroner's Department, the day starts early for medical examiner Stephanie Erlich. After a decade working at North Mission Road, Dr. Erlich has handled hundreds of different cases.
We do many thousand autopsies per year, and we try to keep up, which is extremely difficult.
Dr. Erlich is also an expert on the brain and how it functions.
My specialty is neuropathology, examining the central nervous system.
In 1997, Erlich's medical expertise was required for a controversial forensic case that thrust her in the middle of an emotional legal battle between a judge, a prosecutor, and a heartbroken family. It all began in Glendale, an affluent city just a few miles away from downtown LA and North Mission Road. One Saturday afternoon, 28-year-old Jeanette Cohen failed to show up for a family event.
Her mother was getting remarried, and they were having a shower for her mother on that Saturday, and she never responded to the shower. She never made any phone calls.
After several hours, family members began a frantic search.
Calling friends, looking for her. Nothing.
Glendale police were also called. They first paid a visit to Jeanette's apartment.
Numerous lights were left on inside, the windows were open, Jeanette's purse was inside, her wallet was inside.
The only thing we could establish that wasn't there for sure was Jeanette herself, a set of keys, a pager, and that was pretty much it.
It seemed she had left her apartment in a rush.
I mean, anything's possible. Maybe she just chose to leave and have time to herself.
But Jeanette was thrilled about her mother's recent engagement and wouldn't have missed it. Her Glendale apartment was in one of the safest sections of the city.
The more we heard, the more it had all the markers for a suspicious situation involving a missing person. All the markers in this specific case really indicated that there was foul play involved.
Detectives began delving into Jeanette's background. She was attractive and popular. She had played on a championship softball team. Maybe her habits, friends, or boyfriends could provide some clues.
We had come across 3 people that we had determined to be the 3 most reasonable suspects in this case. They were all ex-boyfriends of Jeanette Cohen, and in doing some background, we had determined that at least 2 of them had prior criminal arrest history.
Jeanette had recently broken off a relationship with a California Highway Patrol dispatcher named Anthony Shivers.
I mean, here's a guy who had held a job for 7 years in a respectable position as a California Highway Patrol dispatcher and really had no significant criminal background or any criminal background at all.
Detectives paid Shivers a visit. He told them he had tried calling Jeanette repeatedly during the time she had disappeared.
However, in talking to him, where he claimed he used a cell phone, there was no such phone calls made to Jeanette using his cell phone.
It wasn't much to go on, but it was the first lead detectives had. In any missing persons case, time is of the essence, so the cops took the case public.
I've been very, very worried about her. I don't know what's happened.
Jeanette's family also conducted their own investigation.
It was very hard to do that. I mean, go door to door. We went to the mall. We went all the neighbors, all the areas.
Meanwhile, Glendale police brought Anthony Shivers, Jeanette's ex-boyfriend, in for additional questioning.
And he basically had made some inconsistent statements and had told me some lies. So we started literally pinpointing our focus on Anthony.
Now, here was an individual who fashioned himself as a man's man, a real Casanova with a lot of the ladies. So I assigned Detective Hayn to this particular case to be his contact, to be the conduit for him to talk to.
We kind of played this good cop, bad cop type thing where I was talking very nicely to Anthony, and Lieutenant Perkins was basically kind of saying, hey, you know, will you give us permission to search your house, your car?
Okay. We're not getting anywhere with this. Could you?
I asked him, I said, Mr. Shivers, I'd like to search your body to make sure you don't have any scratches or bruises. No. I said, Mr. Shivers, I'd like to search your car. No. I want to search your house. No.
But police didn't have any evidence or motive linking Shivers to the case. And at this point, investigators weren't even sure if a crime had been committed. Only Jeanette Cohen could answer that question, and she was still missing.
This is a picture of Jeanette Cohen. She is 28 years old.
An attractive woman is missing.
5 inches tall.
Police suspect foul play, but have few leads. They get a search warrant to check the apartment of her ex-boyfriend, Anthony Shivers.
Everything was in disarray. Boxes were packed, things were moved. I was very concerned about the fact that he was packing his bags, looked like to leave.
Amid the clutter, investigators also discovered a strange collection of clues.
There was a dumbbell that had red stains that obviously appeared to have been blood.
In the kitchen area, inside the trash can, we found a roll of duct tape that had been completely used, very white gray duct tape.
But it was the bedroom that yielded perhaps the most significant lead, and the most mysterious, a day planner.
And he was one of those kind of guys that writes everything down. Every day that he went to work, he wrote everything down. So we started looking at what he wrote over the weekend of Jeanette's disappearance.
Unfortunately, everything about that weekend was written in cryptic shorthand.
He talks in codes, 98. Well, 98 in policeman terms, or in our codes, means out of there, out of the scene, 1098, you know, we handle the call and we're leaving the scene. So we start reading this and we're like, oh, okay, so he's done something now with her, we figured, because of what he had put down in his log.
That particular series of writings in that particular diary, I feel, told us everything. We just needed to figure it out.
And on that Sunday, the day after Jeanette disappeared, there was an especially curious entry.
5 sheets down up in smoke, kind of sounded like there was a fire someplace.
Investigators wondered if there were any major fires the weekend of Jeanette's disappearance.
So detectives got on the phone and they started calling and trying to determine if there was a fire. Was it LA County? Or was it Kern County? Was it Ventura? Nobody really knew at that particular point.
Detectives started by checking out a small brush fire some 60 miles north of downtown LA. They drove to a remote canyon and met the fireman who had put out the blaze.
A detective, accompanied by a member of the fire department, were lowered down into that small canyon just below where the fire had taken place. And that's when they discovered a box.
This box had been completely wrapped up with duct tape, and they kind of pushed it and had realized that there was some kind of a solid object inside, and they had noticed some liquid, red liquid that appeared to be blood.
The canyon was now a crime scene, and the area was secure. While police did not know for sure what the box contained, they assumed it would require the services of the LA County coroner.
Our initial impression was that there perhaps was a body in the box. And there was a lot of duct tape around the box.
It would be several hours before anyone would know for sure. If there was foul play involved, the box was now the most important piece of evidence.
We noticed a hospital-type gauze protruding from 2 holes in the box.
The gauze appeared to be wicks, and the box smelled of gasoline.
So that led us to believe that there had been some effort to perhaps set the box on fire and destroy evidence inside.
Fortunately, the fire had failed, allowing investigators to see what was inside.
Once the box was brought up to the side of the hill, it was taken to North Mission Road, to the coroner's office in Los Angeles.
Finally, the mysterious box would be opened. Police feared the worst, that Jeanette Cohen's body would be found inside. A cardboard box is found in a canyon. It's thought to contain the body of Jeanette Cohen. Police suspect her ex-boyfriend, Anthony Shivers, may be responsible. At North Mission Road, medical examiner Stephanie Erlich mobilized her team to examine the contents.
It's important that the container be examined very quickly after it arrives at the coroner's office, because if there is a body inside, the body is decomposing, and the body may already be very decomposed to begin with.
Smells a little like an accelerant, a little bit.
Wrapped in duct tape and smelling of gasoline, the box presented a unique set of problems. How could investigators see the contents without damaging any of the evidence?
One of our first processes is to take the box into our fluoroscopy, our X-ray lab. And and then there is a full X-ray of the box.
Combining moving images and X-ray technology, the fluoroscope provides a unique perspective to see if the box held the body of Jeanette Cohen.
Everybody standing in the hallway watching the monitor, we had our first glimpse on the inside of that box. Through much speculation, everybody thought, you know, it may or may not be her. Because how could you get a human body inside that little box?
It appeared the body was intact, crouched in a fetal position.
Immediately, you know, you saw the skull, you saw the limbs.
The legs had been bound with wire. And there was one more chilling clue.
We also noticed that there were a pair of handcuffs, metal handcuffs from the box.
Now they had to figure out how to open the box. Every piece of cardboard or markings, even the duct tape, were all crucial pieces of evidence.
What I'll do is find an open space at the top of the box and start my cut there. And I'll put my hand in so that I can feel where the decedent is while I'm cutting to make sure I do not cut the decedent.
After carefully slitting the tape, the contents confirmed what everyone suspected. It was the body of Jeanette Cohen. Her body was remarkably well preserved.
Later, we found out that one of the things that gasoline does in confined spaces is it sucks the oxygen out, acting as a preservative for Jeanette's body.
And Jeanette's body had a story to tell about her final moments. It appeared she had been hit on the head with a blunt object. In addition to the head wound, bruises to the neck indicated the victim had also been strangled.
The cause of death was determined to be blunt head trauma and neck compression, with the mode being homicide.
The autopsy revealed one more shocking clue that would change the entire course of the case.
There was a moderate degree of brain swelling, and it does take time for swelling to occur, so she did not die immediately after the brain trauma.
Dr. Erlich's finding meant Jeanette Cohen survived the attack. It also suggested she may have been alive when she was in the box. Suddenly, this was no longer just a homicide.
This was something that just, a killing, gunshot, a knife, even a strangulation. That's a murder. This is a torture.
Rarely had the experts at North Mission Road encountered such a case. Police believed whoever was responsible also made Jeanette suffer before her death.
And you believe, that doesn't deserve the death penalty. I don't know what does.
Investigators now had plenty of evidence. They charged Anthony Shivers with murder. Prosecutors were confident they could get the death penalty, but the case would soon take a turn that few expected. The body of a missing woman, Jeanette Cohen, is found in a cardboard box. Her ex-boyfriend, Anthony Shivers, is arrested and charged with not only murder, but torture. The autopsy from North Mission Road appears to support the charges.
She did live for a time following the trauma. Whether or not she was alive at the time she was put into the boxes, we don't know.
But investigators had one more incriminating clue, and it was in Shivers' own handwriting. Another log of his activities.
It was almost like a shopping list where he had literally pretty much written out exactly how he had murdered her.
Finally had her get me water and set her between my legs. She attempted getting up a couple of times. Finally, I choked her.
Rare do you ever have a handwritten statement. This is not a confession after the fact. This is during the event.
One particular entry seemed to confirm that Shivers did in fact cause Jeanette to suffer needlessly.
He says then he puts her in a box, basically. She's calling out his name. I can't breathe. Anthony, let me out.
Then, according to Shivers' notes, he killed Jeanette.
You know, the last line that he states is, you know, she'll never break anybody's heart or my heart again, and he's got like a broken heart.
Shivers, it seems, was a jealous ex-lover. Prosecutors and Jeanette's family felt the crime called for the death penalty. The highly publicized case went to trial. As expected, Anthony Shivers was convicted of first-degree murder.
There are murders and there are murderers. And this was an atrocious murder. One that the people of the state of California believe ought to have the death penalty.
But the judge made a surprising ruling. There was not enough evidence to prove that Shivers intended to torture Jeanette Cohen.
It's, to me, very tragic that that judge did not allow that to go to the jury. If the jury had decided and said, hey, that's not torture murder, okay, that's something we'd have to accept, but we never got there.
So all we got was the conviction of first-degree murder, which is life in prison.
Thanks to the help of detectives and the experts at North Mission Road, Jeanette Cohen's family now takes solace in the fact that their daughter's killer is off the streets.
My son, my husband, and I are very grateful to the Glendale Police Department. It's good to know that we have people that are doing the best to resolve violent crimes and bring suspects to justice.
The case of the coded diary. One more story from the files of the Los Angeles County Coroner.